Welcome to News West 9's West Texas View with Johnny Lou Avery.
Welcome to the West Texas View. I'm Johnny Lou Avery, and it's a real pleasure to be here today and to introduce to you a new author whose book just hit the bookstores, the Christian bookstores, as well as the mainstream bookstores on June 1st. And we have the first interview in this whole area with Karen Whittemire, who wrote the first of 3 books that she has a contract for with Bethany Press. Now, if you don't know, Bethany Press is one of those very elite, most prominent publishing houses in the publishing industry. And for a brand new author to have the opportunity to be contracted with them for not just 1 book, but for 3 books is just unbelievable. And I'm anxious to hear what her connections were that made her be able to do this. But her very first book is a book called Tailor Made Bride, and I've read it, and I can tell you that it is very, very interesting. And I hope that you'll run out to your bookstores this morning and get it after you hear from her. We're going to also do another program next Sunday with her talking about how she got published, and if you are interested in writing a book, how you find an agent or whether you decide to self-publish, and what about the artwork that goes into the book covers and all kinds of things that I think you'll be interested in. So not only stay with us this morning and hear about this wonderful, interesting, entertaining book, but also come back next Sunday and see her talk to us about the research that goes into writing a book and all the other things. And the Tailor Made Bride is characterized as what? A Christian
historical romance.
A historical romance, great. Okay, well, before we get into the book, and I want us to talk about the book in depth, but I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself and your family.
Sure. Well, I grew up in California, and so that's quite a ways from Texas, but I came out here to Abilene to go to school, went to ACU, and got my degree in psychology of all things. But while I was here, I met my own Texas hero, so I married my husband, and we got stuck in Texas and never left. He was from the Dallas area, but we met at school at ACU and just stayed in Abilene, so we make that our home now. And since then, I've had 3 children, and they're just wonderful. I couldn't live without them. And I also work full-time, also up at ACU. We kind of just got stuck in that community. We're happy to be there. I'm the testing coordinator there, so I give all the ACTs and CLEP tests and all that kind of stuff. And then writing is kind of my second career.
But the interesting thing is that all of your books so far, the one that's been published and the other 2 coming up, the setting is in Texas.
Yes.
So you not only had to do some research because this was not your home, but you've really grown to love it. And
definitely. Texas has really kind of stolen my heart. I love the sunsets here. I love the people. I think the people just make it home for me. I kind of miss mountains and big trees, but that's worth sacrificing to stay here.
You took your kids back this summer to see the big trees.
I did.
Well, it's always fun to make our guests come alive and not just be guests sitting behind a desk.
Sure.
But I love this book, and I don't read very many novels because in my profession I'm reading fact-based things.
Sure.
But this was so interesting and such a quick and easy read. So tell me a little bit about the book. I want to know about the plot, the setting, the research that you had to go into, and the character. The character developments were wonderful.
Thank you very much. Well, I wanted to write the same kind of stories that I enjoy reading. And I enjoy lighthearted stories, so you'll find some humor in there. I must confess that I am a sap at heart. I love romantic stories, so there's a lot of romance in it as well. But there's also adventure, and there's, they get into some fun situations, so that's really fun. But I wanted to create a story that was from a Christian perspective, so my characters are people of faith. But it also, it's a warm-hearted story that hopefully anybody could just pick it up and enjoy it.
And the tension between the characters is so fun because in reading this, it said that she thinks he's arrogant and he thinks she's vain, yet they have one thing in common: they're both completely wrong.
That's right.
And so that was what I read. That was the bookmark that came with it. That's what I read before I even started it. And so tell us a little bit about the plot. She's
Sure.
a seamstress, and
Right. She's a seamstress who has dreams of opening her own shop. And
but
thanks
this was in the 1880s.
Right. This is back in the 1880s. That's right. So a long time ago, when women usually didn't run their own businesses very often. But she had dreams of opening her own dress shop. And due to some situations that just worked in her favor, she inherited a shop in a new town. And so she moved to that town. It was called Coventry, Texas, which is fictional. I'll tell you a little bit more later about how we developed that. But she comes to town with these grand dreams of opening her own dress shop. And she really believes that beauty is something that should be enjoyed by everyone, that God blessed us with, and we need to just enjoy that gift.
And color and
right.
The textures of material.
Absolutely. She finds beauty in everything, not just in the things that she makes, just in all of God's creation. But the man who lives across the street and owns the livery stable, he just thinks that she must just be a superficial, vain person to put so much stock in the outer appearance. You know, he thinks that women should be modest and should cultivate the inner beauty, which is very biblical and very true. But they're kind of coming at this from two different angles. So he basically wants her out of town. She's not good for the town, especially not for his younger sister. Well, the younger sister has aspirations of her own. She has a beau that she's really trying to impress, and he just doesn't notice her because she's kind of plain and she wears very subdued colors. And so she goes to the seamstress to try to get some hints and some help in how to make herself more attractive to this beau. And so that really causes conflict between the two main characters.
But the way you developed the character of Jericho,
Yes.
who liked to be called JT.
That's right.
The way you developed him was to say that was to make him look really tough and a strong but silent kind of person that didn't communicate very well. So these are the kinds of things that right up at the beginning it grabs you with the story, and also then the conflict that you see developing between the two and how it plays out with their verbal battles
Right.
that
Right.
go into it. But you will love this book. We're going to have to take a break right now. We'll be back in just a minute and continue this conversation, because I want you, one of the things it says, when a dressmaker who values beauty tangles with a liveryman who condemns vanity, the sparks begin to fly and the sparks flow. So we'll be back in just a minute and continue our discussion.
Stay tuned. West Texas View will be right back.